Hi everybody, welcome to today's stream. Let me know if everything is working fine. My voice is sounding good. You are watching my screen, right? The chat on your side is working. Let me know if the music is too loud or everything is working fine. So mainly my voice, maybe, and the music. Maybe the music is a bit too loud on my headphones. I'm gonna make it a little bit lower. And let me know if everything is working fine on your side. Just for tweaking anything if necessary. Okay, sounds a lot good to me. Great. You can't hear any music? Yeah, because maybe the music is... I'm gonna... What about now? It's a small amount of music, just very low music. Hola a todos, welcome. Hola Fernando. Hola Alfredo. Hola, hola, ahora más gente que habla español. Okay. So, yeah, looks like everything, a lot of people are coming, so we're gonna start for about today's stream. Today, we are going to follow with this relief. I have to say that I did something wrong on the previous stream. I think that I chose the wrong measurements. I was checking the sculpting after the streaming, and I noticed that the coin it was too small, so I decided to change the measurements. Hola Camila de Brazil, welcome. And of course, if you have any questions, or do you need to remember anything from the previous stream about any of the part of the process I was making on the past week, just let me know. You can write your comments, your questions. I will try to pay attention to your comments as more as I can. So, because my main goal is to try to help you or try to show how I work. And if you need to ask anything else about any completely different workflow or completely different tool, go ahead and send your questions. So I have what I'm supposed to be able to sculpt to become like what Ibra sculpts is already asking. So I have a query. What I am supposed to be able to sculpt to be called a good ZBrush sculptor? Well, hard to say. This is a complicated answer, I think. I think the first step to take is to be comfortable with yourself, to be confident about what you are doing. So once you like what you do, maybe it's the time to start showing your work to the rest of the world. And I'm sure that you will receive good comments and good critics. But I think the first step to take is to feel yourself as good as possible at that moment. Of course, you're not going to be never the best sculptor of the world, but you feel confident about what you are doing. Maybe it's going to be the base to start improving. Maybe a bit complicated answer. Hola, this is hello from Canada, so far from here. Sometimes your names are quite complicated to say. Here on Twitch, someone is asking working on an important ring, so this should be a great one. On an important ring. Do you mean that you already working on your ring, or are you saying that could be a good possible streaming, future streaming to sculpt about, to be sculpting a ring? So I was on timing. Going great. Welcome from India. People are coming from India, very far as well. Well, that did I didn't answer your question, but so excuse me. Try to repeat the question again, or to try to to send me the question from any other point of view. I'm sorry, but maybe I understood bad what you want to ask. Oh, you, you say that you want one benchmark I can reach as a sculptor. As a digital sculptor, you mean? There are many. Yes. Okay, you can at the end of the streaming or during the streaming, you can reach me through my email or through my social media. Or maybe if you go here, I'm going to show you this. I'm very bad at self-promoting. I try always to promote myself, and but I think I'm very bad to speak about me. So you go to the Pixologic official website, you can go to the community section, you can go to the ZBrush Live section. Then you can click on the presenters. And scrolling down, you will find here my face and my name, where I am. I am here. So here you have all the links to my different social media web pages on the net. So maybe you can reach me through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, many different places where you can send me a message. Okay. So yeah, you are right. The model has a slightly different nose. The profile is not Greco-Roman. Yeah, I'm trying to be as more precise as possible with the profile, because if I turn this on, you can see I am trying to follow the. I'll select here the nose, trying to be as more precise as possible from the original. I think the coin is it's a Macedonian coin. It's not so old than Greco-Roman style coin, I think. Spectacles are asking, when drawing the head in silhouette, is it better to do it in Illustrator or Photoshop than an important? I don't like to do that. I know that many people are doing that because inside of Photoshop or Illustrator or any other 2D software, you are able to be more precise drawing the contour or the profile of the head. But in my case, as during the process it's going to be necessary to sculpt a lot, to start making a lot of changes, from my point of view, it hasn't sense to be so precise at the beginning of the process where you just have a piece of material that it's going to be necessary to modify it a lot during the process. So I prefer to use primitives as I was making on the previous stream, or start painting masks and extracting the information, the polygons from the painted mask. So I don't use the Photoshop or Illustrator to start making by base meshes for the reliefs. Yes, we'll miss. Can you share? Art station, yeah, you already have here my art station. Let's talk about me first. So you can go here to my art station. Same name. You can type in my complete name or only Nacho Riesco, and you will find here my art station. My Instagram ID is a bit different. If I click here, my Instagram ID it's a Spanish word, but I'm gonna tell you what it means. Well, my internet is very slow, so you can see here it is Escultura Digital. It means digital sculptor 15. So here you have my Instagram ID as well. Okay, so let's go ahead with more things. So for today, I was thinking about trying to make different things or different processes, trying to don't repeat the same as I was making on the past week. So I think that I'm going to make today the headband, or I'm going to start today making the headband. So I'm going to use this brush. You can use different ways to do that, but I'm going to show you. This is a brush that I use a lot. This is the Topology brush. I don't know why not too many people are using this brush, because I find it very useful. So I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm going to, maybe I'm gonna paint it on the head, over the head. Let's click on solo here. I'm gonna reduce the intensity of the background image. Remember, going to draw and trying to reduce a bit the intensity. I'm gonna start creating the necessary topology for the band. So I'm gonna start drawing one line, another line, and I start crossing the line, and then we're gonna start creating polygons. Let's make it a little bit longer here, till here, and here the same. No, I think the last one doesn't work. Yeah. So once you have this, all the thing you need to do is to tap anywhere, and then you will get a new piece of geometry. So of course, it's going to be necessary to split it from the head. So go into the splitting option, split the mesh parts, and this is going to be the base mesh for the band. Look, Lori is saying, weak tip for doing with top from ZBrush to Maya, import your high-res model into Maya. Do a GPU cache export, cache clear. I don't know anything about Maya. Okay, thanks for the tip. Maybe it's going to be useful for the people who are using Maya. So I'm gonna adjust here. So this is going to be, maybe I can, remember that I use a lot this brush, the Move Infinity brush, when I'm working on reliefs. I'm gonna turn on my back face to make it thicker here. And now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna turn this on. I think that is a very cool thing about this is that we already have polygroups, but maybe we are gonna need a new polygroup here. Maybe I'm gonna use this automatic options to generate polygroups, groups by normals, crease polygroups. Maybe I'm going to group this polygroup and this polygroup. This is going to be only one polygroup. That change the color. And crease all, crease polygroup again, and now we're gonna start subdividing the mesh. Okay, I'm gonna read your message after the stream. Thank you for sending. Very old idea, because my knowledge about Maya is zero. I don't know. The only 3D software that I use is ZBrush. I don't have any different knowledge than ZBrush. I already, okay, it needs to be creased first, so let's crease. So here we have let's apply some polishing. Let's divide it again to start polishing this. This is going to be Oops, I already have here one poly group. I need to make a new group here. Increase again. So I'm gonna start removing this corner I have here. I don't like it, so I'm gonna use this brush, polish brush. This is a brush that I call this brush, the polish brush. This is a color that I like to call sandpaper. Is this? This is a when you are sculpting and you are using this kind of tool where you are sanding a surface, and when you are using the polish brush in combination with the Alt key, you're going to be able to start feeling that you are sanding and you are removing material from the surface when it's necessary to sand out or to remove unwanted material. So that's the reason why I select this with the Alt key all the time. So we can start sanding this. And removing this part. Maybe going to be necessary to pull this in a bit. Like this. Maybe we can, of course, the head needs to be more detailed. I was making the blocking on the main forms of the hair. Maybe it's going to be enough. Let's see if I add more detail or not. Or maybe it's going to be necessary to refine some shapes on the hair. But what I already have, I like it. So maybe it's going to be necessary to apply some small changes or small touches. But okay, let me pay attention to your questions. Before subdivide, should I apply deformation, polish by groups? No, I recommend to you to start polishing after subdividing. Because if you are, for example, like this, when you are polishing a very low resolution mesh, you can start getting this. As you are transforming or you are modifying very big polygons, maybe the result, the effect of the polishing is going to be too heavy. So I recommend to you to start subdividing, and then when you have enough polygons to polish, it's time to start polishing. Hey guy, I have a question. Does something change in the perpetual? I hope not. I already seen what you are saying. I don't know. Let's wait to the summit. My experience, I've been working using ZBrush for 14 years, and I've been working professionally as a digital sculptor 8 years ago. In ZBrush. Yeah, that's my experience. I was the first version that I had of ZBrush was version 3.5, I guess. Version 3 or 3.5. It was around 13 or 14 years ago. So since then till today, I am using ZBrush for all the stuff related to 3D printing. My main experience, of course, is about jewelry design or things, products that are going to be manufactured or are going to be cast on precious metals or any other metals. But I already made many commissions about figures, statues, many different things. So you know that this is a sculpting software. You are going to be able to make almost everything. So that's maybe the best word to use is digital sculptor when you can make many different things. Of course, all of the sculptors are specialized on different fields like figures or animation or collectibles, superheroes, and things like this. I am specialized on jewelry. So okay, let's follow with the stripes we have here. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use the same brush as before, Topology Brush. Yeah, maybe that's I'm watching that they have a kind of twisting on the surface, and I'm thinking which is going to be the best way. Maybe instead of using this brush, I'm gonna use a cube because the twisting is going to be the main difference. Split max point. I'm gonna make it like this. Gonna group my normals and changing the topology, go into the series measure, keep groups. Let's try to get the double amount of polygons and adapt the size to 0, so we will get something like this. And we already have here on the bend, on the deformer, on the bend curve options, we already have one twisting option here. There you go. So we can, let's see if it is something similar. Yeah, maybe it's going to be something like this. Let's squeeze it. And maybe we can start putting on place. Let's to turn this off, the back face was active. And this is going to be something like this. So maybe some back face here to add more thickness on the back. And we have an already twisted stripe like this. Maybe we can start subdividing. And let me see if, yes. Maybe trying to follow the right movement as the original. Maybe we can start making a duplicate. Gonna push this back behind the there's a good thing about this because this wasn't necessary to sculpt the twisted effect. So that's the reason why I changed my mind. I prefer to use a cube instead of start painting the topology as I did before on the band. So I'm gonna remove the subdivision because I want to make a duplicate. Control and drag. You have a duplicate. And now what we can do, watching from the back, if we use the move brush with the back face, we can start pulling out this. No, maybe it's going to be necessary to create a mask with this auto groups to isolate only the part that I want to move, like this. Another brush that I use very often is a Smooth Groups brush, which is very handy when you have polygroups created to clean the surface. Okay. We already have the pen. Today I'm gonna try to sculpt a bit faster. I'm gonna try to speak less and sculpt more because okay, no questions. Okay, no questions. So let's continue sculpting. Maybe let me check the topology. Oh, now the topology I think is good enough, so we can follow subdividing, polishing, and we can start adding some details. I'm going to use this clay build-up without the alpha to start creating the ridges. And this is another brush that I use very often. I was talking about this brush on all of my streams. Is the smooth brush that I use, or the smooth process that I use. I never use the default smooth brush. So I use a combination of smooth peaks and smooth valleys, because if I use this smooth and I try to smooth this, you can see that I start removing the work that I was making before on my with the strokes I did with the clay build-up. For example, if I try to refine this a little bit more here, so you have the smooth brush selected and you try to smooth this section, you will remove, or you will fade, or you will, I don't know how to say it, you will lose some information. So but with the smooth peaks, you're going to be able to smooth the surface without affecting the sculpting process, because the smoothing is not affecting to the valleys or to the recessed areas. That's the reason why I use this brush. Maybe they are a bit more separated, and of course they need to touch the surface. I think in this case, instead of pull this down, let's try to, I'm gonna use the move with the back face active. I'm gonna change the thickness better. And if I hide the neck, where's the neck? The neck is, this is the neck. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Okay, ready. Question: how would you deal with micro detail for using vector displacement? I don't use micro details or vector displacement maps. Remember that my main work is for 3D printing, so I don't care about micro detailing because as far as I know, micro detailing is for rendering purposes, to start creating pores and small wrinkles, so to start creating high realistic portraits of people. So I don't use that process. Yes, I am only concerned about the detail that I am sculpting on the surface is going to be able to print, and it's going to be able to cast on the final piece. So this is the only concern that I use on about the small details. But of course, they will not never be micro details. Yes, if you had to detail for printing, yeah, to detail for printing, and let me read how you deal with micro. Yeah, depending on the kind of printers, of course, the first thing to keep in mind is the type of printer or the kind of printer that you are going to use. The resolution of the printer. If it is a high resolution printer or medium or low resolution, you need to have that in mind. And if you know of the experience about printing your creations or ZBrush creations, you're gonna start grabbing experience about what you are doing on the screen and what you get on your hand. So the best answer is going to be the experience. So to start creating printing test, to know how far you can go with the micro details or with the small details on the printing process and on the casting process, because it's hard to say that everything below 0.6 millimeters is not going to be able to cast, or it's not going to be able to see on the final piece, depending on the process that you are going to use, depending on the printer, depending on the people who print the piece, depending on the people who is going to cast or who is going to polish the surface, many different factors. So the best way is to start getting some experience about making trial and error with printing tests. Can I ask you how to put the image below? Yeah, sure. How to put the image below, like this. You can put any image using the floor. The parameters of the floor are here inside of the draw menu. I already have here open the draw menu. Inside of this menu, you will get here on this area, you will find the same button you have here, and here you have three different axes: front, back, this is the Z axis; up, down, this is the Y axis; left and right, this is the X axis. For example, I'm gonna add a new image here. I'm gonna turn this on, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm using now the Y axis, so I should open this up, down, clicking on the map one. For example, I already have this image already load on ZBrush. If you select here, the image will be attached to the floor. So when you already have the image, you can start controlling or adjusting, flipping the image or rotating the image, or start cropping the image if necessary. This is going to be very useful when you are making reliefs, putting the image behind your model. Hello, Jace, from Jamaica. Good, nice place. Spiritual, I know, 0.6 millimeter from painting, undercoating, or handrails, everything. Yeah, depending on the scale, this is another factor. Depending on the scale that you are working, it's not the same when you are printing minis or miniatures. I'm saying 30 millimeter high from the base to the highest point of the figure, that you are making collectible with I don't know, 1.4 1 to 4 scale figure. So everything is related to the scale, to the machine, to the printer, to the sanding process that you are going to use, to the painting process, of course, as you already said. Many, but in yearly, as 0.6 is the minimum. This is the frontier. This is the magic number we have to know that everything below 0.6 is, we are going to get problems with this. But the printers specialized on jewelry are able to print 0.6 millimeter. But after the printing, we have the casting process, the cleaning process, where the polishing process. So we are gonna be losing 0.1, 0.1 something during the rest of the processes. Caribbean, good, yeah, nice place as well. And but I think that the best answer is the experience, the printing experience that you have with different printers, of course. select the one you think is the best, and from that point start making tests and start watching how far you can go with the details on the screen and what you can see of those details on the printed piece. So it's, I think there isn't one answer to that question. Only one. Okay, I'm gonna follow making this. Gonna follow making this. I'm gonna use, for example, for this, I'm going to use, let me see, this I already have subdivision levels. I'm gonna select this subtool, and to start creating this kind of wires, or I don't know how to call them. Let me use, I'm gonna use, okay, we can use this curved tube snap. To start creating one split mask point. Got them. This is another cool feature that ZBrush has. I don't know if you already know it. I'm gonna show you what I'm saying. This is going to be very useful for this. It's just to control drag, so you can decide how far you can go with the copy. And now releasing your finger from the control key, and you keep moving, you start replicating same stroke. Let me count it first on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Now you will be able to go lower with. Yeah, I already seen that the new technology, or the newest technology is introducing the 8K resolution. But you are talking about the DLP printers. So the printer which uses light source, LED light source. The new 8K printers are coming today. They are just releasing the new models. Yeah, 0.5, half of a millimeter, no problem with a 4K printer. But the problem comes immediately after the printer. So you need a good casting process, and you need to be very careful during the cleaning process, during the polishing process, to still retain or still maintain the 0.5 millimeter till the end of the final product, 22 microns, yes. Looks interesting. And I think I'm gonna put them on place to start breaking the symmetry. Like this. It looks like they're bending a bit. This is a very cool. This is the reason why I love this brush, the Move Infinity brush, because if I am looking for to start applying a wave for an undulation here, like this, I'm trying to make something like this. We start from a straight line, and I'm looking for to start giving some movement here. You use the default move brush, you can start making this, but you can see that you are only affecting to the closest pieces. But if you use this brush, you're gonna move all of them. I love this brush, how it works. It has a lot of applications. If you do, yeah. If you do your own casting, yeah, because if you are making your own casting, you have everything under control. You have enough experience about what you are doing. You know what you need to do. But the problem comes, when you are outsourcing the casting process. So, and people who are not so worried like you when are making the casting process are losing detail during the different processes. What do you mean with the tassels? Tassels? This is the tassels. Let me check the word. Tassels. English to Spanish. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, tassels. Right. You found the right word. Yeah, the tassels. Uh, yeah, you are right. Darren, I know that you have everything under on your site, on in-house. You have your 3D printer process. You control the casting process. You are a Renaissantist man. Yeah, what's the lowest thickness? Yeah, on the tassels. Yes, on the tassel. Can you go to? Yeah, let me check this out. For example, if we decide, let's start talking about measurements. So, for example, we have this is going to be a relief. So a relief means uh, we are going to have a distance from the lowest, from the base till the highest point. So if I turn this off and I start using the transpose line, from this point to the highest point, should be around here, I am getting around 0.6 millimeters. You can see it here. I'm gonna show you where I am reading, because I am reading it here at the top left corner on the interface. I'm gonna close this. So I'm gonna make it now again. From this point to this point, this distance, you can read it here. It's a little bit less than 0.6 millimeter. Now we are on 0.5742 millimeter thick. So this is going to be, should be a little bit like this to know that we are not going to have problems during the casting process. So the tassels are going to still be there after the casting. So I know that this is the right distance. So I'm gonna adjust this. Just this. And the problems here, we can have the problem with the distance between each other. But okay, I think that the coin that I'm doing, I bet that is much smaller than the original. I think so, because I have in mind to make this as a cufflinks or as a charm for a bracelet. So we can now subdivide. And we are going to do now is to, again, grabbing the Move Infinity brush with the back face mask, we are going to make them solid. So we are going to fill in this gap between the base and the mesh. So doing this. So we already have this made. So now it's time to start creating a new mesh. So remember, So let's try some polishing, and this is what we get. Maybe what we can do, I'm going to show you another process. I don't like to call them tricks or tips, because I think, my opinion, everything is already invented. So I just discover things during my searchings on the internet, or uh, uh, learning things from other ZBrush users or ZBrush artists. So I want to apply here a mask. I'm going to apply a mask right here to try to be able to pull this in a little bit and start creating a deeper reach in the middle. So of course, the first thing that I can do is to start grabbing the mask paintbrush and start painting the mask by hand. Start painting like this. But here I'm not so precise like this. I'm going to use the transpose again. As I said before, I come from the 3.5 version. I think I am old school ZBrush user. So that's the reason why I love the transpose line. Álvaro is asking, ¿cómo controlas el peso en este tipo de piezas? How do I control the weight on this kind of pieces? I'm gonna show you that at the end of the process. Flecos. Creo que son flecos. Borlas o flecos is the same. I'm saying the words in Spanish. We use for call this kind of wires, floating wires, which are at the end of the stripes. I think I call them more flecos than borlas. So okay, let's come back about what I am saying. I'm gonna grab this transpose line again. I'm gonna move. Here is the transpose line. I'm gonna start creating a line. Align it the direction of the mask, and now I'm gonna use the Control key and this white button. I'm gonna click here, and I get it completely horizontal. Now I'm gonna be able to do this. Yeah, my thing needs to be a little bit more like this. Let's blur the mask, invert the mask, and now I'm gonna make it deeper. Okay. So now we know that we are going to have more success on that detail because it's more defined as before. We are not going to lose that detail during the casting process, I think. I'm gonna remove this. Vale, decía que eso solo está ser claro. Flecos. No sabía esa palabra en inglés. First time watching the way of reposition the mesh with the transpose line. Yeah, I love to do that. For example, if I'm looking to create something like this, let me see, let me think on something different. Okay, it's going to be almost the same thing. For example, come here, Control and tap here, and now I already have horizontal. I can do this. No, it needs to be a little bit more like this. Control and tap on the white circle, and now you're going to be able to start creating this. And from this point, you have a little bit more like this. Yeah, now you will be able to do this here. And for example, a little bit more angle, Control click, tap, and you will be able to do this. To start, for example, I don't know, creating more details like this, or of course, here we need more polygons, but The reason why I'm making this is just to repeating or reviewing I was making before with the transposed line, right? Okay, let's come back with it. Turn this off, on again. How do we follow? Let's follow with the beard. Let's save it first. Oh, first watching me. Okay, thank you for being watching me then. Okay, okay, okay. I was thinking that you was referring to the techniques I was showing. Okay, how to control the weight? Let's see. For example, we are creating this. Let's create a real example. For example, this happens very often because you are making this sculpting for the client, and the client just sent you a message telling to you or how the coin is going. So I can answer the coin is going well. Maybe I need few hours to complete it, but I need to know how weight it is to know because I will need to buy the metal or estimate the metal cost, and I need to know now how weight it is. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to make the boolean of everything of each single subtool. Let's make a weight test. So let's go turn this on. Gonna make it boolean. I'm gonna turn this off because the base, I am working with dynamic subdivision. That's the reason why I have this. Looks like completely smooth, but it is a fake subdivision effect. So let's correct this and let's create the boolean. ZBrush is telling me that the boolean cannot be performed because some inputs are invalid. So maybe this could be a problem with the dynamis. Let's recalculate the dynamis on its single subtool to close the possible holes or possible imperfections or whatever. Let's try it again. Yeah, still having problems. Which one could be the tool which is giving problems? Maybe this one? No. Maybe the hair? No. Maybe the eye? That is too simple. Maybe this. I don't know. I'm gonna try to remove this. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait only this. Let's try. Again, maybe I have a problem. Let's close the holes. Close the holes here. Close hole here. Close hole here again. Close holes. And here, close holes. Let's try it again. Yeah, looks like the problem was solved with the close holes. Alvaro, you understand that the weight is controlled by when finishing the sculpture, either with diameter, thickness, or by casting the piece with a third. It's controlled when finishing the sculpture, either with, yeah, because, but you need to know now how weight it is now because I was making the sculpting with the measurements that the client provides to me. So the piece is going to be like this. So it can be bigger or smaller. This is going to be the right size. So I need to know how weight is the piece on the right size. So if I already have this is the union mesh, this is the result. The only thing that you need to do is to install this plugin. Click Kitco Metal Quotes. Just clicking here, you will get the list of the weights. So here, if we are planning to cast this in yellow gold, 18K. This is the weight, 16.7 grams. In silver, 11.27 grams. The only thing that you need is to have everything boolean together to know the weight of everything, and have this great plugin to know which is the weight. And from this point, we can decide, for example, maybe the client is saying to us, well, maybe it's too heavy. Maybe if instead of being here, I already have here 2 millimeter thickness, maybe we can go, I love this brush. This is one of the newest brushes, the knife brush. So we can cut this, make this a little bit thinner. Now we are 1.5 millimeter. So now we are, let me take it in. Before we were, undo it. This is 1.5. Before it was 16, right? Now we are reaching 3 grams less. So what we can do now, as I did before in the previous stream, from this point to this point, we're going to start trying to control the thickness of the total relief like this, and now we are 1 gram less. So I start tweaking and tweaking the piece till the customer will be happy with the weight. Yeah, that plugin, Kitco, yeah, Kitco Metal Quote. So if you go to the official Pixologic website again, the only thing you need to go to support, resources, plugins, and you will find it here somewhere. Kitco Metal Quote here. Also, you already have a usage video to learn how it works. Download it, and the rest, I think that you already know it, how to install a plugin on ZBrush. Sanal TS is asking, is that alpha? An alpha? I didn't use any alpha. I think on the previous stream, I was making the head from the 3D model. Then I convert the head into an alpha, and then I convert an alpha into a 3D mesh, like a relief. So I recommend you to review the streaming of the past week. Sometimes I don't find the right words in my mind. So let's come back to here. Is there a backside? No, because this is a relief. We are making a relief. So we are making a coin. We are making a kind of coin, ancient coin, to be used on a cufflinks or on a charm or maybe on a signet ring, whatever you want. Because we are talking about reliefs, so sort of creating reliefs. Highly, hey, Nacho, to setting a stone in ZBrush, do you use some plugin? No, I recommend to you, if you want to see how I set the stones, if you go to I already have a YouTube channel. Here inside of my YouTube channel, you will find my ZBrush live streams as well here on this section. I recommend to you to be watching this. This is streaming where you can, when I was making the stone setting on the leaf, where it is, like this, with the cutters, prongs, like this. I don't use any plugin. I only use my own custom brushes. Insert process. The process is a combination of insert process with nanomesh. It's quite simple, but it is not an automatical uh, way of placement. You need to be placing the stones one by one, planifying first where you are going, where you need to put each size, depending on the space available. So it's going to be necessary to still to be placing the stones one by one, to step one. But you can control the sizes of the stones as well. I recommend to you are able to review that stream. Thanks a lot. Very super pretty design for Julie. Well, thank you very much. So let's go with the how do you pronounce this? I always doubt about this. The beer. Uh, this part of the face. So I'm going to turn this on. Time for imperfections. Yeah. You are welcome, Alvaro. So let's follow with the beer. So I'm gonna use this brush, the clay build-up brush without the alpha again. And let's start creating this. I'm going to reduce the intensity of the image. Like this. So let's start creating. Let's start blocking the main forms. Let's change the size a little bit. I'm trying to follow the same flow of the hair, for getting something similar as the original. Looks like a random texture, but it is not random at all. So you need to pay attention of the direction of the hair. I think this part, in this area, it hasn't any beard or beard. This is going to be here. Okay, let's follow with this. This is going to be a little bit here. Let's follow. Okay. Control drag to. I already using Dynamis. No. This is I was talking about this plugin on my previous streams because you can see the resolution now is 100. If I turn this on, what I am getting is a mess of 345,000 or almost 315,000 polygons. But looks like when you are recalculating the Dynamis, looks like you are losing a bit of detail. That's the reason why I prefer, instead of using this button here, I already have this plugin installed, Dynamis utility. You can find this as well on the resources part of the from the Pixologic website. Now I can decide how many polygons I need. So if now we are getting into detailing, so maybe 1 million is going to be enough. So let's convert a dynamics of 1 million. So I have now 1 million to work with. It's enough density for the kind of detail I need. And again, as I did before, instead of using the default smooth brush, I use the smooth peaks to start smoothing only the peaks without affecting the rest of the surface. It's gonna reduce the lazy mouse. And I can the contrast brushes. Which are the contrast brushes? What do you mean with the contrast brushes? Contrast target? Yeah, could be. But I prefer to use instead of contrast. I prefer to use this instead of the process. I prefer to use it inside of the deformation, the contrast control. Start adding more, enhancing the detail of the stroke we already did. So start playing with the contrast here. And I use the move brush with the back face. And because here I have the strokes I made, they have a regular thickness, something like this. And I'm looking for more something like this. So not so regular. The way I do this is with the move brush with the back face. I'm gonna start breaking the strokes, creating different shapes. I use a lot the back face option for sculpting purposes, not only for protecting the back side of the mesh when you are working with thin meshes. So it's very useful when you are sculpting to create many different effects. I use this a lot for cloth sculpting, the back face option. The only knowledge that I have is about ZBrush. I don't know any other software, so I make the UVs inside of ZBrush. Because the reason why maybe is because I make a very simple UVs. Just for example, on the snake here, on the snake, I create the scales pattern with a UV master inside of ZBrush. For simple UV mappings or not very complex, I think UV master is more than enough. It's quite simple to use and effective. You can use, for example, use the UV master for create cloth patterns for figures, superheroes, and things like this, just with the UV master. Okay. Let's see how the inflate works. Inflate brush works. Yeah. Here and there, some touches. without the back face. I think, yeah, I should pull this in. And then like this. With this. Looks like I need to change this profile a bit. Let's make more intensity to see that things are working well with the profile. Okay, it's enough. I can use the pinch brush to start pinching. Let's create more intensity. And another one of the brushes that I love to use, but I think in my opinion only works in very few cases. I'm gonna show you. This is this light brush. I don't know if you already use it or it's on your toolbox of brushes. This slide brush, BS, BS slide brush. This brush. It's for hair on 4 on 4. It works very well to start creating things like this. Yes, we are sliding the mesh. I use this a lot when I am sculpting fur and short hair for animals and bears. Beer. I don't know. I still don't know how to pronounce it properly. Beard. And now in combination with the move brush on the back face max, I can start removing the undercuts on the overhangs I made with the slide brush like this. That's the reason why I used to work with Dynamesh, because I like to be repairing where I am messing during the sculpting process. I think that's the best part about Dynamesh. You can, at any point, you can rebuild the mesh and you start again with a new mesh. Let's make some details on with the SKS last with the double alpha. More intensity. It's necessary to follow the same strokes. Okay, I'm gonna jump into the eye now to start making the pupil. Let's save it first. Thanks to everyone that you are here watching what I'm doing, because we are a lot of people, or at least I think we are a lot of people. We are almost 160 person watching, observing to me what I am doing. A lot of responsibility, I think. Let's fix some parts. Now I'm just watching the reference image, because to start adding more refined shapes of on the hair, because when you're sculpting hair, you know that it's an endless job. You can be sculpting hair for the whole day, because every time that you are watching or you are observing one part, you are uh, seeing different things or different shapes, and it's almost an endless job to start thousands and thousands of strokes to create a realistic hair. So I think the best thing is to start be focused on the main forms, and don't be too obsessed with the small details, because if not, to sculpt a hair maybe can take the eternity. Never ended story. So I'm just trying to breaking the pattern here with these strokes, because if not, the hair looks like a very regular, it has a very too regular texture. This is the head. You need to be inside. Okay, so okay, this is going to be enough. I like this part of the hair where it has this kind of curl or twist here. I like the detail it has here. Like this. I think that with the form soft, just okay, let's jump into the eye. Maybe I'm gonna create a pupil like I'm gonna add more resolution to this series measure. I'm gonna select an sphere. I'm gonna put it here. Okay. Gonna select this. Gonna create a flat surface, a reflecting surface. this. It works on the main view. It works, I think, but when you are start rotating, the face becomes very weird. Always happens when you are working with reliefs. Maybe the cheeks are more pronounced. This, the nose should be closer to the surface. The forehead. And this. Maybe here is a good point to start using the damage standard brush. It's great for any kind of wrinkles and skin folds. Let's turn on the lazy mouse to be more precise. I only use this damage standard brush for wrinkles, because for this kind of ridges, what I'm trying to do here, I prefer to use the SK/ brush. I think I have more control than on the with the damage standard brush. So I close the eye. It should be a little bit more open. And when you are sculpting for 3D printing, I suppose that most of you are already creating art or start creating things for 3D printing. One of the things that I always keep in mind when I'm sculpting in ZBrush is when you are defining a very well-defined how do I say steps. You can see steps of an stair like this. So the different steps with the different surfaces. You have one level, we have another level, and here we have another level. The same thing is happening here. To don't have problem with the printing, and usually, of course, with the casting, you should be always pay attention to this, to the stepping, to this kind of stepping. To don't make the steps too thin, to try make it wider, even in some cases more than necessary, but always try to keep an eye on this, because if I, for example, have this here, maybe from the front view it still works good, but this is maybe we can have problems in this part on the printing and on the casting process. Much better to have a well-defined step here and here, and also here, for example. Here we have another one. Here we have another one. More steps from the stair. So you should be always trying to pay attention that all the steps are very well defined. Whoops. I'm gonna close this. The same here on the mustache. I have a small step, but I already have one here. Compare with the surface. Here we have surface number 1, and this is the surface number 2. So, and here is the step. This is the step between each other. So when you are sculpting for 3D printing, you always should be worried about the stepping. I don't know if I'm using the right concept. Maybe you can call them layers, or maybe you can use another concept. The concept that I like to use is different steps from a stair. Okay, what time is it? Okay, it's still 30 minutes to grab up. So I'm gonna be faster because I want to show you the next step that I take. Okay, maybe we can say it's almost done. Maybe we can grab again the sandpaper here, the sanding tool, and start sanding and relaxing some peaks like this. Looks like my hair, my eye is bigger than the original. Let me check this. If I make a plane here, yeah, it's gonna looks like more than the original. Like this. And maybe the eye goes more there, something like this. Okay, I think now it's more similar. from this view is I should fix this because from this view is you can't see this piece from the side view. Maybe let's tweak this a little because looks like it's a bit scared from the side view. From the front view, from the main view, the face is working fine, but from the side. Hello, Andrea. Welcome. A fish eye. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think now it's looks better than before. Before it looks a bit scary from the side view. Maybe this part should be like this, and maybe the pupil needs to be a little bit closer. Okay, now it's much better. The mouth has an extreme expression on the original. And I think mine is it's good enough. I think it's not going to be necessary to touch too much the mouth. Okay, maybe it's gonna be time to start making booleans. So maybe I can be tweaking, refining, touching over and over again. But I don't want to bother you. So now it's time to start talking about new things or different things. So I'm gonna, if I decide, for example, that the things are done, gonna fix this part of the neck first. I'm gonna work on the profile of the coin. This is going to be very simple to make. To start destroying or start making an irregular always the reliefs. I think this is a good tip or good advice. Always should be growing slowly, or I don't know how to say, instead of like a block like this, like a block with you have the surface and start growing like a vertical wall. The sculpting should be from the side view. You still need to be growing till reaching the maximum height and still going down. It's like a cookie shape, maybe we can say. You don't like the people. What is the people? People again. Let me find the translation. The what do you mean with the people or the pupil? Are you referring to the pupil? Because yeah, the pupil looks maybe can look strange because it is not a realistic eye, but keep in mind that the method that to cast right the light or the reflection, that's the reason why I put a little ball to make the pupil, because you can see that you are like the original. You can see here on the original. Let's make it bigger. Yep. On the original, it has something more like this kind of shape. It's like a little tiny ball in the middle of the eye just to cast the light on that point. Yeah, graduating the relief, yes, to be start growing the relief from the surface. Let me put this. Okay, so I'm going to make this thinner as we decided before. Let's make it like this. And I'm gonna keep them separated. The face, the relief of the face at the base of the coin. Gonna dynamic subdivision. Gonna apply the subdivisions. As we are gonna start breaking the shape. I'm gonna use this brush as the same to start breaking this something. Make it without the back face mask. To start creating this kind of a irregular cookie shape or damage coin. Not too much. Something like this. Trying to keep the same distance from the tip of the nose to the back of the head to make it more proportional, but not a completely perfect circle. I'm gonna now subdivide this mess a little bit more. 1, 2, 3 times, for example. Half of a million we have. Another brush that I like to use is the Trim Dynamic brush. This works like the behavior of this brush works like this kind of is a lime when you are just destroying or grinding, or I don't know how to, which is the right word, the right verb, to liming or lime or sanding the surface to start destroying. Here, this is the borders. Looks like the geometry is not very good. You can see the geometry is not very regular. We have a dense mess in the border. Like, let's create a new mesh with the series measure, keeping the grips. I don't have any grips. Yes, with the double amount. Yeah, now let's try to divide now. And let's start using the sculpting tool as shown you before to start creating an irregular border. This part as well. Only affecting the border, the corner, the edge, like this. And this, okay, this is going to be enough. because I'm going to create a boolean of from this point to this point. So we are going to get a one boolean group from this subtool till this subtool, and another boolean group just for the base. Okay, let's create a boolean. Let's save this first. Now it's not going to be necessary to keep this active, so make the boolean. File. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. File or lim is not the same. Is it not the same when you are making this is a lime? This is a kind of lemon, I know, but when you are using this tool, this is a file, lime, a file, like a computer file, something. Memo Cosa is asking cómo inserto un objeto que no aparece en Quick Pick. Quick Pick. ¿Qué quieres decir con el Quick Pick? What do you mean with the Quick Pick? With here? This Quick Pick? If the object is not here, you are looking for to append a new subtool, first you need to open it to be able to find it inside of the Quick Pick section or into the 3D meshes section. That it's exactly the same. So I am still having the same issue with the boolean. Let me check this out again. En español es lima, en inglés es file. File. Sí, gracias. I am still having the same problem with the let's close the holes again to each subtool. Let's go one by one, close holes, you close holes, and maybe you close holes. Let's try this again. Most of the problem that you can have with the booleans are related to the open holes on the mesh. Now it's ready. Here it is. We have two. Here we have a subtool which is reaching the 2 millions almost, and I'm gonna decimate it. I'm gonna save this as a new version of the file. This is going to be the final 3D printing file. I'm going to decimate it to 250 Ks. 250 Ks like this. Let's wait to the final decimated mesh. Okay, and I'm going to check what is happening inside of the mesh. So looks like everything is working fine from the inside. It's not necessary to fix anything. So what I'm going to do now is to start blending the different subtools between each other. Of course, for printing purposes, this step maybe is not going to be necessary because on the final piece, and on the casted piece, you are not going to be able to watch the imperfection or in this case the perfection of the 3D object. But what I normally do, for example, I'm gonna select the lasso. I'm gonna select this portion. When the beard reaches the face, I'm gonna select the smooth valleys and Sculpting Pro like this, and I'm gonna start blending this. We are still having the steps I was talking about before, but Here we start blending the transition between the different subtools. The reason why I go hiding part of the mess is because the Sculpting Pro works better if you are working only with a part of the mess, not with the whole mess at the same time. Keep in mind when you are using the Sculpting Pro, you are tessellating, you are creating new geometry at the same time. You are sculpting, or in this case, you are smoothing the surface. And now you can start blending. And now it's very important to use a smooth peaks and a smooth valleys process. If not, you will destroy more detail than necessary. Let's fix the eye. Smooth valleys brush. Okay. Maybe here. Like this, looks like you made it from a single piece, but it was made by several pieces. Some imperfections here. I forgot to add this kind of, doesn't matter. There you go. ¿Hay algún plugin de joyería para ZBrush? El único plugin exacto para joyería que puedes encontrar es el Kitco Metal Quotes. Es para pesar. ¿Dónde estás? Aquí. And also you have this plugin, Ring Utility Ring, when you are going to be able to start setting ring sizes. I think, as far as I know, official plugins which can be used for jewelry, Kitco and Ring Utility. I also use the IMN draw size. I use this brush very often for stone setting. I use this plugin very often as well for control the thicknesses. Don't know where are you. Precision Extract, this brush. When you can control the thickness of the extraction in millimeters, when you are making things. Let's. I would like to keep them as individual pieces. Let's duplicate. Let's gonna merge this down. I'm gonna hide the rest. I'm gonna make a boolean for the whole thing. Going here, remesh by union. Okay, no, not this one. You remesh by union again. The remaster is the same thing, like the Ring Utility is the new updated remaster plugin. It's the same one. What software app are you using to get the source image to sit in front of your ZBrush as reference? You are saying, are you talking about this? This is the spotlight. The spotlight inside of ZBrush, you need to go to texture menu, select the image you want to put on your canvas. For example, this one. Use this button, and now you can have this. You can stack as many images as necessary as possible, as you want. So let's come back. Add another one, and add another one. If you click here, you can select this. You can control it, make it bigger, more transparent, less transparent. The spotlight, very powerful tool inside of ZBrush. I'm gonna get rid of this one. I don't. I don't want to use this one anymore. I don't want to use this one anymore. I don't want to use this one anymore. So coming back to texture, select, clicking here, and now you can start putting whatever you want. You can clicking here on the circle, you can start moving around the image. When you are clicking in the center, you are gonna move the menu itself. Okay, it's already booleaned, so let's make a 250k mesh. And I'm going to now just start blending this border. The same brush, smooth valleys in combination with Sculpting Pro. Wait, what happened there? We have here a tiny little hole here. Let's close hole first. I am doing this just for rendering purposes to make it more to make a more realistic render. With the imperfections and so on. Yep. Maybe it was the wrong decision to decimate the coin, because we are getting a lot of problems with the topology. Because here we have a very simple triangle mesh, so when we try to tessellate the mesh with the Sculpting Pro, start happening those strange artifacts. But okay, once we have enough density of the mesh, everything is working fine. Okay, so we are ready. I think we can call it done. Yep. I think that brush has a sculptress on. Yeah, I don't know. The sculptress. I'm using the Sculpting Pro. You can activate the Sculpting Pro to any of the brushes. For example, if I turn on the polymesh, you can see how the mesh looks like on the back. We have here a huge triangle exactly in the middle. For example, if I want to sculpt anything without the Sculpting Pro, it's almost impossible. You can see nothing happens. And also here start happening something, but it is not possible to sculpt anything. But if I turn this on, I can start trying to start sculpting here till we are. This is not a good example because the mesh, the triangles are just too big. You can see what is happening. You are creating triangles at the same time that you are sculpting. You are tessellating the mesh. But this is not a good example for the Sculpting Pro because you are trying to tessellate only one polygon. In this case, this is impossible because I am not touching any vertex. Here is still start happening things, but it's still a very low resolution. But for example, here in the border, here it is possible to start sculpting. Sculpting Pro, it's a very powerful feature inside of ZBrush. Ryan, yeah, ZBrush is a very powerful sculpting tool for create many different things. So here we are talking about jewelry applications or jewelry things, but you know that you can make even, I don't know, furniture or many different things. And today, with the technology we have about 3D printing, no limits, so you can start creating without limits, just the limits of your printer or your manufacturing process. Let's follow refining this. Maybe we can make the pupil not so. Let's create a mask here. I'm just, as I said before, I'm just looking for to cast the light on the pupil. That's the reason why the pupil looks strange, but on the final piece, for example, if I select a silver looking, for example, this kind of on the final piece is gonna look like more or less like this. You can see the pupil from this size is not so important, but you can still see the light cast in the center of the pupil. Maybe I can add a bit of here. Let's create a cube. And this is a, maybe we can call it done. What we can do is at this point, just for rendering purposes, maybe we can add some surface texturing on the surface with some bump maps. And I am leaving the tip of the nose like this because here we have the same thing about the stepping I was talking about before. Here we have a little bit more than half of a millimeter. We have 0.7 millimeter. So it can be thinner. So here I am okay. Okay, so I'm starting thinking about what is going to be the next streaming. I have in mind some ideas, but at the moment I'm not sure which is about what is going to be the next stream. One of the ideas that I have is to start creating some kind of Art Nouveau brooch or pendant, another idea that I have is to sculpt some kind of acanthus leaves. I don't know if I pronounce it well. This is kind of filigreens, very commonly used on some of jewelry designs. When you are something like a leaf sculpting. This is another idea I have in mind, but something related to a jewelry design, or maybe a ring, but I'm not sure what kind of ring. maybe some kind of flower rings, or I don't know. Of course, on future streamings, I'm going to make more reliefs, sculpting samples, maybe more complex, but I don't like to select too complex or too long to sculpt examples, because to be watching to me making using the same model during the 3 or 4 streamings, I think is a bit boring. So I prefer to select simple and fast things to sculpt. Half an Iva stream, is that an ancient Macedonian king? Yes, an ancient. I'm gonna try to find the name. It is. I found it on Pinterest. I'm gonna try to find the brand. It is an ancient Macedonian king. You are right. Yeah, that's the key. That Theodore Isfan is saying that I recommend you, when you are using the Sculptis Pro, always try to select parts of the mesh to don't stress the memory of the program. Or if you forgot to start, or you don't want to start hiding or unhiding part of the mesh, what you can do is go to preferences, open the memory section, and compact the memory from time to time to avoid crashes of ZBrush when you are working with the Sculptis Pro. Yeah, you can read the description. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have the ability to read description here that the coin has. Father of Alexander, could be. Alexander the Great, could be. Or the father, or I need to find. Let me ancient Alexander coin. I'm looking for father. It's a Macedonian king. Let's say like ancient Macedonian coin. The same, like this. I think it's the same person. It is. He is Alexander the Great, I think. Alejandro Magno. Or maybe could be this one, Perseus, king who died of lack of sleep. I think looks like more like this one, Perseus, an Antigone dynasty, king who was defeated into the Third Macedonian War. Perseus. Yep, here it is. Perseus is the name of the person who is under the coin portrait. Yes, Perseus. We found it. So this is a good habit that you can take, is going to preferences and be compacted the memory from time to time to avoid crashes when you are consuming a lot of memory, when ZBrush is consuming too much memory. Depending on, for example, if you are making a lot of operations like Sculptris does, that he is sculpting and generating new topology at the same time that you are sculpting. So it's a good moment to start compacting the memory. Okay, so we are done, I think, for today. The coin is already made. I hope it has been useful. Maybe not the whole process, but maybe some part of the process. If you have questions, you can leave your comments on the video description, and you can send the messages through my ArtStation Instagram whenever you want. And don't forget to subscribe to the Pixologic channel to stay tuned to my future or other artists' future streams, and keep ZBrushing as more as you can, and hopefully I will be able to make my next stream. Maybe I'm not sure if it's gonna happen the next week or the week after the next week. I will need to check out how is my schedule. And anyway, I will let you know, and you will be updated if you go to the Pixologic website again, and you go to the community ZBrush Live. Here you have a calendar. Calendar is coming. Calendar here, where you will be up to date to all of the future streamings. So for all of the artists with each day, hours, and anyway, I will post my future stream on my social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you already are following me, you will be updated about my next streamings. But I need to think first about it, which is going to be the next. I'm not sure now. So thanks to everyone to be here. Today we have been, in my opinion, a lot of people. Looks like you are very interested about reliefs, and I will make more reliefs in the future, because it's an uncommon. Well, a lot of people are just already making reliefs, but not too many people are making tutorials or streamings and making sculpting about reliefs. If you are still interested about reliefs, again, I recommend you to visit my YouTube channel, where you will find how I made this relief of this lion. The same techniques using this with more or less the same concepts I used during the creation of this coin. Okay, thanks to you to being here, following me, asking questions, watching my streams, and for all of you who are going to review my video, thanks as well, and hopefully we'll see you soon and making more ZBrush stuff apply to Julie. So so stay tuned for my future possible streams, and again, thanks and take care, have a nice day, and see you in the future streamings. I don't know. Goodbye.